Georgia Regional University, Augusta. So we have all of that in our area here growing and bringing in so many students from all around the entire area. And thank goodness we had the Arsenal. Look what it has meant to this area and the whole CSRA, because we have students from the entire time. I haven't mentioned Ty Cobb. Ty Cobb lived right up on the street here on William Street. And I think the interesting thing is that the more I study of Ty Cobb, the more things I hear about how good he was, the things he did for Augusta. He did so many things here. I can tell you one little short story about my father. I keep going back to him. But he and Ty Cobb were good friends. He never said anything against Ty Cobb. When in 1919, my father developed TB, tuberculosis, as so many people did. He was not getting well, and the doctors suggested he go up to the Catskill Mountains in New York to a hospital up there for nothing but TB. He went up there and stayed 9 months till he was completely cured. When he was coming back, he knew he'd have a layover in New York, and he called Ty Cobb and said, "Is there any chance I can get a ticket to the Detroit Tigers and New York Yankees team, a game that's going to be played when I get to New York?" He said, "Just go to the gate. When you get there, you'll have a ticket." Well, my father went and got the ticket, and he went in. Not only did he have a ticket, he sat on the front row on the Detroit side right behind home plate. And Ty Cobb, every time he'd come up the bat, would come over and talk to Daddy and welcomed him back from his illness and back to get to Augusta. So you can see why my father would never say anything against Ty Cobb. This picture I have of Ty Cobb over here is with my father. They played in the golf tournament at Augusta Country Club. Guess who won? My daddy didn't. Ty Cobb didn't lose to anybody. So, anyway, these are up here on the table. And by the way, I have a T-shirt with Princess Augusta on it, Augusta's name for. When I took it out, I go, Pierce looked at me like, "Is she selling T-shirts?" So, I'm not selling T-shirts. I do have those up here. I thought you'd be interested in seeing something. So, we have heard so many stories. David looked up for me last Sunday, Ty Cobb, on the internet, and in it shows Jimmy Lanier, who went to Reid Memorial, grew up here at Reid Memorial. If you remember Buck Lanier, any of you, it was Buck's brother, younger brother. Well, Jimmy was Ty Cobb's bat boy. He traveled with him to Detroit and all around. Just like a touring pro now has a caddy that travels with him. Jimmy Lanier traveled with Ty Cobb. He never had anything bad to say about Ty Cobb either. And if you really want to see, look it up, and I think you'll be fascinated with that information about Ty Cobb and Jimmy Lanier. Let's see, the Depression came along. We had two depressions. One was in 1921 when the cotton exchange completely fell apart because what? The boll weevil came to Augusta. It came to Georgia and South Carolina and killed every single cotton crop there was. There were many millionaire cotton shareholders, and they all lost everything. Then we had, of course, the crash in 1929. So they were the two devastating crashes that happened in Augusta in the 1920s. World War II certainly changed everything, and it changed because of all the military that came here. They brought in other businesses, and that meant that people that were already here and had businesses began to flourish, and so that helped out there. Golf has always played an important part of Somerville. The title holders, the latest golf tournament, it was compared to the Masters for men. And they even got a jacket. And I think I'm mistaken, it was a green jacket. But the title holders, ladies, at Augusta Country Club, played until Mrs. Dorothy Mannis died, and she was the one that gave most of the finances to that tournament. It's now at Naples, Florida. They bought the rights and the title from the Augusta Country Club, and that tournament is continued today. Patty Bird, Babes Harris, Mickey Wright, all those old names of players who were here, they were fantastic players. And they played here in March before the Masters every year. The Masters, of course, you don't even have to talk about it. Look how it changes the people's lives here. It probably changes Reid Memorial's life that 1 week more than anything else. You look at the congregation, you don't know them. Because the members are out of town, they rented, or they're at the tournament, or they're cooking at home, feeding guests. And these are all strangers that are in town. And it's like when I used to give tours for church, I'd bring them here to Reid Memorial, and they would say they wanted to sit where Ike sat. So I would always show them the pew where Ike sat, and they'd sit down and smile when they sat where Ike sat. And then, of course, now we show them the wise man. Reid Memorial's wise man. So the Masters have played a tremendous part, as well as history here. Don't you wish you had the tickets of those old days of the Masters golf tour? My sons, why'd you throw them away? You know, when I married, I threw all my old Masters stuff away. And I thought, why did I do that? I mean, it was so dumb. But I guess I thought it was childish, and I didn't want to say, how I wish I had saved it today. But anyway, it does make a difference. And during the Masters, you see there are many different faces. And Augusta people, especially here at Reid, put on a special smiling face. And Sunday go to meeting clothes. And attitude. Attitude's the Sunday go to meeting attitude too. And then just like Augusta, we are fresh and clean and new and ready for guests. So that's part of downtown. The people criticize us, but why not? You do that for guests coming to your home, so why not do it for guests coming to town? We'd sweep the front porch, wouldn't we? And that porch was always clean, the yard cleaned up, welcoming these people. And we'll clean up and a fresh facade. So that's part of the Masters Week here. I've given numerous tours over the year and given information out and learned so much around here. I worked for the Welcome and Information Center for Historic Augusta, and I've even done tours for all the mayors. So you might say I've been involved in the history of Augusta for 27 years. I wanted to say here that Augusta has changed so over these past almost three centuries, and the hill itself has changed a great deal too. But we have advanced, we have flourished, and with God's help, we will continue to advance and flourish as Reid Memorial Presbyterian Church and love Somerville. So I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope I haven't put any of you to sleep. I told Pierce to raise a finger if he saw anybody sleeping like us. But he hadn't raised a finger yet for me. He's probably been asleep. Yeah.
About, during the fire, about the cemetery, the importance of
Magnolia
Cemetery, and also about Doolittle.
About what?
Jimmy Doolittle. Here in Augusta.
Jimmy Doolittle.
Oh, Jimmy Doolittle. Okay, Daniel Field, when I said it became an air base. Jimmy Doolittle's men were brought here to Augusta, and somebody said they were brought at different times, different ones. And they practiced on what was considered short runways, so they could learn how to fly off of a ship out in the Pacific Ocean. And if anybody knows anything about Jimmy Doolittle, most of you probably here have heard enough about him to know that the old book, Tokyo, 30 Seconds Over Tokyo, was made into a movie. And it was fascinating to know that so many of those men. I want to tell you this. My husband was from Aiken, but he was actually stationed at Daniel Field for 9 months. When he came here, it was right after some of the men that were Doolittle's men had been downtown and they'd been in a fight. So they were off limits. So when my husband wanted to go home to Aiken, Miss McKnight had to go all the way around to Fierce Fair Road and come in that way to pick him up at Daniel Field. She couldn't come across the river because he couldn't ride through downtown Augusta. He was off limits. So that had something. He was mad about that. But what could you do about that? Magnolia Cemetery dates back to 1814, built on Delaney, old Delaney farmhouse there. It's really mostly swampland. But what I think Sam was talking about, when I said my parents burned out, my mother had gone uptown to see the fire. My father had called up and said, "Come see this spectacular fire." Excuse me. So Mother left supper on the stove cooking, and my grandmother was visiting from Mahler, Georgia, and she took care of Elizabeth, who was 4 months old. Well, my mother was gone, and she looked back, and my father's business was at 700 Block Broad. Their house was burning. They went running back, and when they got there, my grandmother and sister were gone, And Daddy told Mother, "We'll get the silver." She went in and she unlocked the silver chest, looked at it, locked it back, and walked out. And when she was walking out, she saw a silver bowl on the table filled with fruit. She dumped the fruit in her skirt and left the bowl to burn. That shows you how you do things during the fire. But they hunted for my mother and my grandmother and sister all night long. Couldn't find them because they had gone to Magnolia Cemetery. They said it was the only place in Augusta that the sparks and the wood, the board flying through the air, didn't break through the leaves. And there were over 600 people spent the night at Magnolia Cemetery. Is that what you wanted me to tell, Sam? Okay. And my grandmother, what she did, I thought was the smartest thing. She took baby blankets, mud blankets, and soaked them in the bathtub real quickly. Put them around Elizabeth's carriage and around her, and put one around her. She said they looked like the measles, who had so many burn spots in them when they got to the cemetery. But when they fascinated, they thought to go to the cemetery to spend the night that night. But they didn't find them the next day.
And
Yeah.
why don't you tell them about how Augusta was upset in the late, well, I moved here in '53, and it happened when DuPont moved here and all these thousands of people hit Augusta.
You talking about the riot?
No, I'm talking
No.
about Savannah River.
Savannah River plant.
The what?
Savannah River song.
Savannah River plant. That's when Jerry came to town.
Yeah.
They came with DuPont. And that's the trouble. You would not believe what I have deleted this week. I spent the whole weekend deleting stuff. I said, I can't tell them everything. And look what I did. I put all you to sleep anyway. I've told you so much. But it's just so much here, and it just keeps growing. I keep finding that thing. But when they came to Augusta, so many of the people moved into Augusta, and the others moved to the military energy, the energy plant they call it, yeah, what do they call it?
Bomb plant.
Everybody said the bomb plant. That's exactly what we call it, the bomb plant. But Jared's husband was connected with the bomb plant with DuPont, and she had traveled with him. Okay.
You wouldn't believe it. But let me tell you one thing. We experienced nothing but Southern hospitality because we moved to Augusta. We were suggested, DuPont told us where to move, where to live. We did that. But that didn't happen to a lot of people because of the way the first group acted. These were men that made a lot of money, got drunk on Friday night, spent everybody, and these communities weren't used to it. And what brought to this town were extremely intelligent men. You will not believe the people, of course, they've all died. I'm the only one still living.
Just like me.
Seriously, most of them, a lot of them live in.
Can you all hear Jerry? I could handle this mic.
Well, I
If
can't.
not, you handle it.
Well, I'm taking up a lot of time, but I think this would be interesting.
What was missed was the intelligence and the income that these people who had college and masters and doctorates, they ended up in Aiken. A lot of them did. A lot of them lived here and moved to Country Club Hill. A few of them were accepted at the country club. We were young, and that wasn't a part of our life. But what I'm saying, the Augusta really missed some very, very intelligent. Several of the men that moved to Aiken were the group that founded the atomic bomb. And they were really overly intelligent, highly paid people. And Aiken got them all. We didn't get many of them. But anyway, it's been an experience for me because I've lived here since 1953. And it's been interesting. In fact, Ann's husband worked with my first husband.
You want to ask them if they want to ask me questions.
Yeah, yes, she says if you have any other questions, that she'd be happy to answer. And
Anybody want to?
anybody have any questions?
We've done enough, haven't we? I've enjoyed it. I hope you've learned a little bit about the restaurant.